Welcome to Magical Moments, and it's all about that ease and flow in our lives. And I'll tell you what, I'm your host, Alena Chapman, and we've got an Ask Alena today. And I'm going to take this time because I get a lot of questions. There's one here, but this is like one of many about this. What is the core goal of life, and how do you develop leadership to achieve it? That's really a good question. And it ties in with something that I think actually this person is in tune, because I think right now, talking about our goal in our life, our truth, why we're here, is probably the one of the most important questions we can ask at this time in our lives, in the world's life, in everything. It's really funny. And I was going to talk about this even before I knew the question. Isn't that? We're all in the same vibration, folks. It's a very cool thing. But let's talk about this. And I want to ask you a question. I want to start this off. Do you live with your truth, or are you living the truth someone has taught you or said is the truth? Now, this is big, and a lot of you are probably looking cross-eyed at me because, well, Alena, I learned the truth. That's what everything's for, right? That's what institutions and churches and everything. But there is something much more important. It's our truth. It's why we're here. And until we understand our truth, we lay victim to everyone else's truth. Let me explain a little bit better. Your truth is not your so-called purpose. Your truth is not the way of how you're going to work, whether you're going to have children, all that stuff. Yes, it can be followed by that. But what your truth is, it's much deeper. It comes from the soul. And it comes from the part of the soul that is in connection with Source, God, whatever you like to call Source. And from that comes our truth. Now, it's so interesting. All my life, people have pushed on me what they said the truth was. From the time I was knee-high, I knew my truth. I can't tell you why I knew my truth. I just did. I always knew when something didn't sound right to me. What does living your truth really do for you? You have a firm feeling of security within yourself. You're comfortable with who you are at any given moment. Even when you're on the wrong path, you still feel that you will be all right. You have an accepting of others and their truth. You're not out there trying to change everybody. You know that they have to come around to their own truth in their own time. You don't feel the need to push your truth on anybody. It's not that simple. And you have this incredible sense that light will always disperse dark. At least that's my truth. What your truth might be something different. But I'm always saying that. If you know me for any length of time, I will tell you, light always disperses the dark. Because that comes from my soul. And that has gotten me through every tough time in my life. And if you also meet me, you will find that I don't seem to have fear. And actually, I don't have a lot of fear. Why? Because I'm comfortable in myself. Because I know that I am always going to be fine. And light dispels dark. It's that simple, folks. But I have been faced with so many people who want me to change my truth to their truth. And that's when things get tricky. My parents left me alone a lot to discover my truth in my younger years, which was interesting. I usually played alone for a lot, and I really discovered my own sense of self. But that sense of self then really grew firmly in me. And I swear, if I didn't have that self, that same feeling in myself that I had my truth, I wouldn't have made it through the incredible bad time when I was 10 years old with the bullying. Never did I give up my sense of truth. And I had to stand for who I was. I had to stand strong. And what was I fighting against? Other people saying I had to live their truth. I had to be the kind of girl they thought I should be in that school. I was too unique. And then when I was in high school, even then, having good friends suddenly say, you know, gosh, if I could cut out your larynx, I would. You know, because she was jealous. My best friend, we used to do duets together. Where did that come from? Fear. Fear that she wasn't good enough. Of course she was good enough. We sang together. I mean, it was really absolute magic when we sang together. She had a beautiful voice. But her fear and not knowing her truth, not standing strong in her truth, made her lash out at me because I was firm in my truth. And I was singing and I wasn't really concerned if she was better than me. I knew we sounded good together. Do you see the difference? I'm not comparing because she has her own gifts. Lying in your truth is something that cannot be replaced. And I find right now we don't give people a chance to find their truth. We're so busy trying to tell them how to live, who to become, what they need to do now. We never let them just look into themselves and experiment, try different things, and just say, where is my truth? What is it that I'm really here? And I have done many things in my life. I have been many things. I've been a music director. I've been a singer. I've done plants. I've done decorating. I've done a lot of things. But here's the thing. My truth was in it all because it's who I am. That is your truth. So even in times like these, it's time for us to find our truth. There is so much fear running rampant right now, and fear is cancer. It is. And it spreads so easily. If you've ever been in a group, well, and I have, when I got lost on that mountain one time, that little girl that I was lost with, she started to panic. And I saw that. And I could feel it gurgling up in me, and I had to stop it. It's catching. Fear is it just runs through you like voltage from another person. And you end up reacting, getting out of your truth, getting totally into their truth, either accepting it or getting so gnarly that you can't even see your truth anymore. You get lost in the fear. And we've got that all over the place. We've got people saying just such weird things. And everybody wants to change everybody to what they think is their truth when they don't even know their truth. They're relying on what they've been taught is the truth. The 11th, 12th century, the begins, and I don't know, it depends what country you're from, how you pronounce it. Begin, Bishin. There's so many different, France has a different way than Germany. And it began I think in Germany. And it was these women who broke away from just the teachings, the dogmas, not the spirituality of the church at that time. They were women who wanted to start living from their soul. They wanted to be women of service. They wanted to be independent so that they could concentrate on the spiritual aspect of their lives. You'd say, oh, why didn't they become a nun? Who knows? But they wanted to be independent of that. And I think they wanted to escape the dogmas, quite honestly. And if you read Marguerite Porete, or actually listen to her book on YouTube, and you just have to type in Marguerite Porete. There's only one book. And she has an interesting, incredible book that is the logic, the reasoning mind talking to the soul. And she says right in the beginning of the book, this is not for theologians, priests, or pastors, not of the learning people who have learned all the dogmas. This is for the soul of every person. And when you start hearing how she talks, it's not about achieving salvation. It's about living with salvation within inside you and bringing it forward into the world by your truth, by helping others, by being the best person you can be in helping others to be the best person they can be. Not by my rules, but by their own truth. That's where light comes in, folks. And the only way that we can do that is if we start to look within ourselves. If you really want to find your truth, you've got to take time with yourself. And you know what I do? Yes, I meditate. Of course, you know I'm going to say that, right? But what I would do is more of a spirit writing, or psychologists call it something else, but it's a subconscious writing, I think they call it. Same thing. It's the same practice. But get a piece of paper. Allow yourself to get quiet into like almost a meditation. And at the top of the paper, put your question. What is my truth? And then start writing. Now, the first page, depending on how logical and left brain you are, and in this reality, the longer it will take you to get to spirit or the subconscious, whatever your preference is. And so you've got to keep writing until you're just writing automatically. And you're just writing and writing and writing. And when you are done, and sometimes I write, oh gosh, I've written 15 pages before. And you don't, and this is the key, you don't remember what you write a lot of times. You have to go back and read it. And in that, you'll start to unearth your truth. It's really funny. I have time for a quick story. At one time I did this spirit writing when I was very frustrated. And the one thing I was brought up with is to shove your feelings down. So, and I was a master at it. I was so good, but it wasn't good for me. And I was very frustrated. It was when I first started in this business, and I was very, very frustrated. And because some people I hired just didn't understand what I wanted. And I couldn't understand why I was frustrated because I was shoving it down. So I sat down and I started to write. And you know what? You got to just accept whatever comes out. And that's what I'm telling you. So I'm writing along, and then all of a sudden, finally, I get through the conscious mind and I'm in there. And all of a sudden, off with their heads comes out. No, I'm not going to go chop anyone's heads off. But it was funny how much my frustration just came bubbling out so fast, just releasing. And as soon as I said it, and as soon as I wrote it down, I felt my whole body just release it. All the frustration just came pouring out of me. And then, of course, I had to laugh. And I'm saying this to you because I don't want you to be surprised about anything that comes out. Because if you've been bottling up inside or you haven't known what you're all about, stuff will come out. Let it come. On a piece of paper is great. And it needed to come for you to get the light. inside you. And this is the thing. Don't expect a purpose. Like, I'm going to be a dentist, or I'm going to be a musician, or I'm going to spread the soul's wisdom all over. That is not your truth. You can do so many things like I have with your truth. Your truth, your truth is bigger than that. It's what makes a ripple in that great big ocean. It's what is your spirit. It's who you are in that spiritual world. And if it's not based in love, hint, hint, it's probably not your truth. So opening up to it it feels fantastic. And I think what you will find is this incredible freedom that you've never felt before. Freedom from having to be responsible for everyone's expectation of you. Freedom of fear that you're not going to be accepted, that you're going to fail, that you are going to be alone, or you're going to be wrong. So what? You will suddenly have this incredible feeling of how important life is and how important everyone is on this earth. It's an incredible feeling. And then this question, what is the core goal of life? That's what it is, to find your truth. I really believe instead of all these wonderful works we do, let's talk about those works. If you do works without your truth and you give with expecting to return, you give that box of charity and you want that tax deduction. That's not giving, that's a trade. You give what you think is your wisdom, but you're pushing it down someone's throat. That's not giving. That is not love. That's self-righteousness. And not in a good way. But when you live from your soul, you have this acceptance. When you give, it's because you want to help another person. When somebody asks you about something, you give from your heart, not from what you think they should do. It is a different way of living. I've been amazed with how much we push our agendas on other people. When you live from your soul, you don't push your agenda on other people, especially your kids. You know? Pushing, well, my life was good for me this way. Well, you're going to live it the same way. Why? It doesn't even make sense. Why? Why would we do that? When you live from your soul, you want that child to discover why they are here. You want to help them in any way that you can and accept them for what they choose. That's the big thing. And that's the hardest thing. My parents had a hard time with that one too. I get it. But you know what? You got to let go of what you think is right and allow them to search it out. Even though you might not think it's the road you would choose. What does that matter? You're not them. Let them find their own truth. See, that's the thing I think that I see so much when you have your truth. It's not how do you develop the leadership to achieve it. You don't need the leadership because you just naturally become the leader. Because you can't see how to be anything else. But if you have your purpose in life and you add your truth to it, oh my gosh, then all of a sudden, you don't even have to be worried about a leader. You'll grow into the leader you need to be. You just make it happen. The only thing that stops you from achieving the dream you want to have, now that's not your truth, that's the dream, that's the passion, is fear. And the more you know your truth, the less fear you will have. And fear is the only thing that causes procrastination, lack of persistence, lack of will. So if you don't have the fear, you won't have any problem whatsoever. Right now, we really do have a nation of fear. It's really incredible. And it's been growing for a long time. But now it's at a place where it's not even realistic. We've got people in so much fear that they can't even see straight. It's not going to take more fear to conquer the problems of our world right now. In fact, that's the last thing we need. We need someone to dispel the darkness. And it's not going to take just one person. It's going to take all of us. We've got to open up into the truth of ourselves. And the truth of ourselves is the light. And when you put that truth together with all the incredible little unique gifts we all have from that light, and we do. I never liked that phrase, we're a drop in the water. We are not just a drop in the water. We are a unique, one-of-a-kind drop in that water. Each of us has a gift on the spiritual level, and we have a gift that we brought down to this earth. And all it is in finding your truth is finding that gift. And we are supposed to shine that truth. And if all of us shine our truth and that gift, that is what's going to change this world around. It's the only thing that can change this world around. But if we get swallowed up in everybody else's fear, and I'll tell you, they're strong right now because they think they're right. The worst kind of fear there is when they tie it to a so-called principle. And then they tie that fear to it. Now, the principle may be right in its raw form, but you add fear to it, then it takes on a mortification that changes that principle into this incredible thou shalt thing that spews all the poison from their mind into that principle, into another person's life. I actually, because of a comment, listened to, I avoided this like the plague, guys. I avoided it like the plague. But last night I succumbed to it because somebody did something on Twitter saying Gilead was good. And I said, what are they talking about, right? Because I try to stay out of that crap. I mean, I keep up with the news, but I'm not going to watch a show that makes me upset too, right? I don't need to feed that energy. But I succumbed to it and I sat down and I watched The Handmaid's Tale. OMG. I couldn't believe after I watched just 3 shows that man was saying that was what he wanted in the world. Gilead. I got it. It clicked in my mind finally. And I'm looking at it thinking, what is he thinking? What kind of fear is going on in his head that he thinks that others have to suffer so that he can feel good about himself and his so-called salvation? That others have to be in pain for that. That just blew me away. And that's all rooted in fear that he's not good enough. That incredible fear that he has to strive to get into salvation when salvation is right here inside us. It's really something. When you are standing in your truth and you open your eyes to everything that's going on, sometimes it's just like, you gasp because it's just so unreal how deep people have gotten lost in the fear. And I think fear is one of the most dangerous things on earth when it gets out of hand. So, guys, it's time for you to find your truth. And like I said, it's not a goal. It's your truth. And if you want help with that, my gosh, I would so be honored to help you. I'm serious, because the way I see it, if you have your truth, you are unstoppable. You're your truth. I mean, there's nothing better in the whole wide world. So if you want to start learning your truth, yeah, then contact me. In fact, you can text me at the station. Hey, guys, if you're going to text me, please put my name, Alena, because everybody's text comes in on the same line, and then we have to figure out, like this question I'm hoping was for me. So it's Alena, and just put that on there, and then it's 46862. Just go ahead and say, hey, Alena, I'm interested in learning more about this, your truth, and I'll know what you mean. And then you can put your phone number, or you can put your email address, or you can put your Instagram something or other. Put something that I can contact you. And I don't bite. You know that by now, I think. And I just would love to help you, if I can, to discover your truth, because that's really what it's all about. And I bet you have some of the most incredible gifts to bring this world. It's all about light, guys. And the more we disperse the darkness in ourselves, the more the light can shine through us and into this world. Love you all. Namaste.